Oh man, let's talk about your time in Ring of Honor, man. Uh, let's talk about that experience of the Ring of Honor, the different types of Ring of Honors that you've been a part of, right? The
Sure.
different regimes. Can we
Mhm.
talk about that real quick? Your time in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I remember one day a guy, a friend of mine, Eric. Uh, we were always the guys that were working together in the ring, and he sent me this press release about this new promotion starting up called Ring of Honor and what they were going to be about. And I remember writing him back like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Um, but that was the place to go, right? That's where like once Vince bought WCW, there was a vacuum, and something had to fill the void, and Ring of Honor was the thing to kind of fill that void. The Indies, and now with tape trading and diehard wrestling fans can start watching different stuff from different places. And Ring of Honor, that was basically how their business model started. They were a tape trading company, right? And they realized pretty soon, instead of grabbing all these footage from other companies, they could just start their own and sell their own footage, right? And sell their own DVDs. And that was really the idea. And it was to grab the best local independent guys from all the different local areas and bring them into one promotion. So um, you get to a point, and I tell all these wrestlers that have aspirations of making it to the big time, you're going to get to a point where you're the best guy in your area, in your little region, and now you're the guy that all the other guys are working to get better. But that's when you need to leave, and that's when you need to go somewhere else. And so for me, having the opportunity to get in the ring with the CM Punks and the Brian Danielsons and the Samoa Joes and all these guys that were the best guys from their area were all now converging here to Ring of Honor. That's where you get to test yourself and you start to really grow as a performer and to kind of see where you're at. And now I'm getting in the ring with guys better than me that I can learn from, after being maybe the guy that was in the other position. So yeah, had the opportunity to break in there, and drove like 16 hours out in a van full of guys for my do or die match. Did basically every move I could think of that I had in my arsenal at the time, because I didn't know how to work it yet. I just knew how to do stuff. But my stuff was so cool that they wanted to bring me back. And yeah, and so I moved out to Philadelphia. And this is something else I tell people. I've moved probably 30 times in my life. I go to where the opportunity is. I'm going to go to the opportunity. I'm not going to wait for the opportunity to come to me. So once I knew, and Gabe Sapolsky told me he was interested in using me, I said, let me make it easy for you. And I'm just going to move out to Philadelphia, East Coast. So it's going to reduce my travel, reduce expenses, and just make me right there. And eventually that, I think, helped lead me to running the Ring of Honor school a couple years later, because I was there. I was right there. So but yeah, you had the Gabe Sapolsky Ring of Honor, which was kind of the original, iteration of it. And always grateful for Gabe to put me in the position he did, to give me the opportunity to, get in the ring with Samoa Joe at Final Battle. Winning the ROH title at that time really put my name on the map. Thanks to everything Joe had done before that, it really thrust me into the spotlight. And that could have been anybody. That could have been Alex Shelley. That could have been Roderick Strong. That could have been any number of 12 guys, 15 guys on the roster deserved that spot. I was grateful enough to get the opportunity. And so for that, I was extremely loyal to Gabe and to Ring of Honor. And so when Gabe was let go, it was really difficult for me, because I was really, I was in the office a lot, spent a lot of time with him. I was loyal to him for the opportunity he'd given me. And, there was a bit of a regime change. And with that, came a little bit of friction. People are trying to take control. Different people are trying to work their way in. Jim Cornette ends up in there. Adam Pearce is in control for a while. There was this weird transition part where I was asked to be kind of a locker room leader, but nobody was really told that I was a locker room leader. And I wasn't given the information to be a locker room leader. And it was just, it was trying to figure these things out as all these moving pieces. And, I was at odds with some of the things that were changing with the new management, the general manager, who didn't have any connections to wrestling. And so it did lead to a little bit of some issues after the Gabe regime, bringing in Jim Cornette. And so, I'm sure everyone here's, heard Jim Cornette's opinions on me. But it was a difficult time, transition for the company, myself personally, and things were changing. And because it had to change, because Ring of Honor's original concept was everyone go out there and try to have the best match of the night, and the cream will rise to the top. And when you don't have a roster, that's a good way to build a roster. But once you have a roster, now we need to work together as a team, right? It's like a baseball team. If everyone's going up there swinging for the fences and nobody's trying to take a walk or get on base for the guys behind them, it's maybe not the most efficient way to have a team. And I think pro wrestling's the same way. We want to build a card. We want to make sure that we're being respectful to the people after us, to other people before us, not doing the same things. And so the philosophy changed a little bit, I think, for the better when Adam got in there, because now that we had a crew and we were kind of a big family, let's not work against each other, because we have so many talented guys and women in there. We could all go out there and steal the show any night. Yeah, I can loop false finishes for 30 minutes any night I want once you know the formula. So that's not magic. So it's about understanding your role on the card for that night and delivering in that role. Because if you're the main event, you don't want the guy that's going on second or third to be taking all the things that you want to use later for that epic main event, right? So I think that's sometimes where we get in the indies a lot. We're all kind of being a little selfish, and we have to be a little selfish in this industry. But I think once you have a roster, that's when you can start working together, building cards collectively, and making sure that we're putting on the best show that we can for the fans.
What do you think about this new Ring of Honor product under the directive of Tony Khan and AEW? Do you like the way that Ring of Honor is being treated? And you mentioned Jim Cornette. He has some. A lot of people have some things to say about this new Ring of Honor and what they think about it, and if it's growing or if it's a money pit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In a lot of ways. What do you feel about this new Ring of Honor product that you're seeing?
Well, I'll have to be honest. I don't really watch a lot of wrestling anymore, and I really haven't for a number of years. Like, it's somewhere along the way, and I know this might hurt some people's feelings. I apologize. But I kind of fell out of love with wrestling as a fan. It became my job. Right. It became my job, and you start to watch it differently. Right. So the fandom kind of disappeared. And so I don't keep up. It's not something I do in my spare time or watch. I keep up enough to be educated. I've caught some things here and there that have interested me, watched a few things. But I would just say that really, if you look at the current style of wrestling, that's Ring of Honor. In every company, in every promotion, this attention to motion and maybe forgetting about emotion, but we're focused on the motion, the move, the spot. That's what we ushered in. Sorry, guys. We kind of messed it up a little bit. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just stealing the Super Junior stuff that we were seeing on tapes from Japan and then doing it over here for the first time. Everyone thought it was new, but it was stuff that Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask have been doing for 10, 15 years at that point, right? But we hadn't seen it in the States yet because everything here was big heavyweight style. So now you get guys that are starting to do what we'll call work rate nowadays, right? And so the influence of Ring of Honor from the original Ring of Honor is what we see in wrestling today. And it is what's on TV, no matter what promotion you watch. If you go and you watch early Ring of Honor, that's what's translated. So I haven't watched enough of the new Ring of Honor to be able to compare it to anything else. Do I think it's a money pit? I don't know. I think from what I've gathered, Tony got a really good deal on the sale of Ring of Honor. And with that, he got a lot of footage of a lot of people who have made a lot of money in this business. So I'm sure, Tony's a pretty smart businessman. And even if Ring of Honor is not turning a profit from events or things of that sort, I would like to think that the video library in and of itself is so extremely valuable. Along those lines, I have almost a DVD of every show I was ever on for like 6, 7, 8 years. I have like a collection of like a couple hundred DVDs, a lot of them still in their plastic, and I'm getting ready to put them up for sale. And I think, what a great collector's item for people who really want the history of Ring of Honor. You look at the names that were on there, and for me, it's sitting in my storage unit, and I would much rather find a home for it to someone who would really, really appreciate it. And so, probably sometime in 24, we'll put some kind of auction up or offer this up my personal collection for sale. I think it'd be pretty cool.